Let's clear up a common misconception that has puzzled many people at the dinner table and in grocery store aisles for generations. Despite what the name suggests, corned beef has absolutely nothing to do with corn on the cob, corn kernels, or even the cornfields you might picture in the countryside. The corn in corned beef actually refers to the large, coarse grains of rock salt that were used to cure the meat centuries ago, long before modern refrigeration existed. In fact, in Old English, the word corn was a generic term for any small, hard particle. Think of peppercorns, grains of barley, or even seeds. It wasn't specific to maize, the yellow vegetable we call corn today. So, when people talked about corned beef, they were really describing beef that had been preserved with these hard, salt corns. It's more accurate to think of it as salted beef, named for the preservation method, not the vegetable. This technique of salting meat was essential in a time before refrigerators and freezers. People needed a way to keep meat from spoiling, especially during long winters or on lengthy sea voyages. Corned beef became a staple for sailors, soldiers, and families alike, because it could last for months without spoiling, making it a reliable source of protein when fresh meat was unavailable. The beef, most often brisket, was submerged in a brine made from coarse salt and a blend of spices. This process not only preserved the meat, but also infused it with flavor, making it both practical and delicious. Over time, as language evolved and corn came to mean maize in America and other parts of the world, the name corned beef stuck, even though its original meaning faded from common knowledge. The dish's name is like a linguistic fossil, a fascinating reminder of how words and recipes can outlast their original context and take on new meanings as cultures and languages change. So next time you see corned beef on a menu or in a can, remember, the corn is in the salt, not the side dish. There's no actual corn involved, just a centuries-old method of preserving and flavoring meat. It's a delicious example of how history, language, and necessity have shaped what we eat, connecting us to the past with every bite. And now, let's explore how this salty tradition traveled across continents, influenced cuisines around the globe, and became a beloved dish in so many cultures. Imagine life before refrigerators, when the simple act of keeping food fresh was a daily struggle, not just a matter of plugging in an appliance. In those days, every household had to find creative ways to make their food last, especially meat, which spoiled quickly without the cold. Keeping meat fresh was a real challenge, especially during the warmer months when heat and humidity sped up spoilage. Families and butchers alike had to work quickly, knowing that any delay could mean a precious meal lost to rot. Salt was the ancient solution, acting as a powerful preservative. For thousands of years, people discovered that salt could do more than just season food, it could save it. This mineral, harvested from the earth and sea, became as valuable as gold in many societies. By drawing out moisture, salt made it impossible for bacteria to thrive. The process was simple but effective. Cover the meat in salt, and let time do the rest. As the salt pulled water from the meat, it created an environment where harmful microbes simply couldn't survive. This process, called curing, didn't just preserve meat, it transformed its flavor and texture. Over days or weeks, the meat would become firmer, more flavorful, and develop a unique taste that fresh meat could never match. Cured meats became a delicacy as well as a necessity. Cured meats like corned beef became essential for survival, especially through harsh winters when fresh food was scarce. In many regions, families relied on their stores of salted meat to get them through months when hunting or farming was impossible. Salted meat could be stored for months, sometimes even years, without spoiling. Barrels of preserved beef lined cellars and pantries, providing a reliable source of nourishment when nothing else was available. And because it lasted so long, salted meat could be transported over long distances. This made it possible to feed armies, supply distant colonies, and support growing cities far from the source of fresh food. For sailors and explorers, barrels of corned beef were vital, fueling journeys across oceans. On long voyages when fresh provisions ran out, salted meat was often the only thing standing between a crew and starvation. It wasn't gourmet, but it was reliable, providing protein and calories when nothing else would last. Meals were simple, but they kept people alive and strong enough to face the unknown. Without salt, global exploration and trade would have looked very different. The ability to preserve meat changed the way people traveled, traded, and even fought wars, shaping the course of history in ways we often overlook. The simple act of salting meat changed the course of history. It connected continents, fueled empires, and became a cornerstone of civilization itself. Next, let's see how Ireland became the world's corned beef capital, and how this humble preservation method shaped a nation's destiny. Ireland and corned beef seem inseparable, their names often uttered in the same breath, especially around St. Patrick's Day celebrations across the globe. But the real story behind this iconic pairing is far more layered and surprising than most people realize. To understand how corned beef became linked with Ireland, we have to look back through centuries of history, across rolling hills and stormy seas, and into the heart of Irish society itself. By the 1600s, Ireland's lush pastures and skilled producers made it a global leader in corned beef. The island's mild, rainy climate was perfect for raising healthy cattle, and Irish farmers became experts in animal husbandry, producing some of the finest beef in Europe. When English laws banned the export of live cattle, Irish producers adapted with ingenuity. They began salting and preserving beef in large wooden barrels, creating a product that could survive long sea journeys and feed distant lands. Cities like Cork soon became world-renowned for their high-quality corned beef. The bustling harbors were filled with barrels destined for British colonies, merchant ships, and the Royal Navy, making Ireland a key supplier to the expanding British Empire. The secret to Irish corned beef's reputation lay in the island's abundant supply of pure, mineral-rich salt and the cool, damp climate that aided preservation. This combination gave the beef a distinctive flavor and remarkable shelf life, making it highly sought after around the world. The industry boomed, bringing great wealth to landlords and merchants who controlled the trade. Yet, the hard-working tenant farmers who raised the cattle saw little of these profits, remaining tied to the land and struggling to make ends meet. Ironically, while Ireland exported vast amounts of corned beef to feed the world, most Irish families could not afford to eat it themselves. For the majority, corned beef was a luxury item, far out of reach. This contrast was stark. Lavish feasts featuring Irish corned beef graced tables in London, Boston, and the Caribbean. While back home, many Irish people survived on simple fare, often little more than potatoes and milk. The world enjoyed Irish corned beef, but the Irish themselves mostly went without. The dish became a symbol not just of Ireland's economic success, but also of the deep social inequalities that shaped Irish life for generations. This paradox, of abundance for export and scarcity at home, set the stage for a new chapter in Ireland's food history, one marked by resilience and adaptation. So, what did the Irish really eat? To answer that, we must look beyond the myth of corned beef and discover the humble, hearty foods that sustained a nation. Despite Ireland's fame for corned beef, most Irish people couldn't afford to eat it. The beef was exported, leaving locals with humble diets centered on potatoes and pork. Pigs were cheap to raise, and bacon and cabbage became the true Irish comfort food. A salted pork joint, boiled with potatoes and cabbage, was the everyday meal, not beef. The profits from corned beef exports rarely benefited the farmers who produced it. The beef cattle grazing the hills symbolized wealth out of reach for most. Only after mass emigration did Irish people's relationship with beef change. That transformation began in America. The Irish-American love for corned beef began in New York, not Ireland. Fleeing famine, Irish immigrants found beef affordable in America, a luxury back home. Living alongside Jewish immigrants, they discovered kosher salt-cured brisket, similar to corned beef. The Irish embraced this meat, boiling it with familiar cabbage and potatoes. Thus, the classic corned beef and cabbage dish was born, not in Ireland, but in America. It became a symbol of prosperity and a staple for Irish-American families, especially on St. Patrick's Day. This new tradition celebrated both heritage and newfound opportunity. Corned beef and cabbage became the ultimate Irish-American meal, a dish born from adaptation and hope. Corned beef's durability made it a military staple long before it was a holiday treat. The invention of canning turned it into a compact, ready-to-eat ration for soldiers. During the World Wars, millions relied on canned corned beef, bully beef, for sustenance. The iconic rectangular tin was designed for efficient packing and global distribution. Soldiers ate it cold, fried, or mixed into stews, simple, filling, and dependable. After the wars, surplus cans spread corned beef worldwide, introducing it to new cuisines. Its role in military history helped make it a global food. From battlefield rations to dinner tables, corned beef adapted to every need. Next, let's see how different cultures made it their own. Corned beef's journey was just beginning. Corned beef's global journey turned it into a culinary chameleon. In the Philippines, it's sautéed with garlic and onions for breakfast, corn salog. In the Caribbean, bully beef is cooked with peppers and onions, served with rice or bread. Latin America stuffs it into empanadas. Hong Kong mixes it into macaroni soup. Each culture adapts corned beef to local tastes, making it a comfort food worldwide. From breakfast in Manila to lunch in Jamaica, corned beef proves its versatility. It's a simple food, with a complex international story. Now let's look at the two faces of corned beef today. Today, corned beef means two things: fresh brined brisket and canned ready-to-eat meat. Fresh corned beef is a whole brisket cured in brine with spices, simmered until tender. It's the centerpiece of a classic corned beef and cabbage dinner. Canned corned beef is cooked, shredded and packed into tins, soft, crumbly, and convenient. The fresh version is for special meals. The canned is a pantry staple worldwide. Both share the same roots but serve different roles in modern kitchens. One is a celebration, the other, a quick fix. Two branches of the same salty family tree. Corned beef's evolution reflects changing times and tastes. So, why is it called corned beef? The answer is in the salt, not the vegetable. The name is a relic of history, a reminder of how food and language evolved together. Corned beef's story spans ancient preservation, global trade, and immigrant adaptation. It's a dish shaped by necessity, ingenuity, and cultural exchange. Every bite connects us to centuries of history and migration. Whether from a simmering pot or a tin can, corned beef is a taste of resilience and tradition. And that's the real story behind the name.